Have you ever dreamed of loving a creature? If you watch this channel, it seems many of you have. Over the last few months, we have been flooded with a strange number of messages asking how to handle romantic situations with non-human entities. We brushed these off at first, because advising on this would almost certainly get someone killed. But that stance grew hard to hold once viewers began telling us they were already living with their variants. At that point, it was obvious. Staying quiet would not stop any of this. It would just leave people with nothing at all. Before we go further, hear this plainly. Pursuing or binding yourself to an anomaly is not just deeply reckless, but condemned across every sector. No matter how normal one of these things looks, no matter how real its warmth feels, it is still wild, still deadly, still close. In this guide, we will cover the entities that have, historically, caused the fewest deaths when bonded to humans, and the specific conditions under which those bonds formed. The single most critical point: you cannot make an anomaly want you. There is no form to fill. There is no dark ritual that produces love. You cannot walk up to a lesser archon and bargain for closeness. You cannot appear before an entity and expect it to feel anything for you. Even if you do everything right, everything we say here, nothing is promised. Not your well-being, not your survival. Bonds between humans and anomalies are uncommon and fragile. The entity most often tied to lasting, stable romantic bonds is the vampire. Vampires carry a body structure very close to a human one and blend into ordinary life with ease. A large share of them want nothing more than calm, boring days. That quality makes them the least catastrophic option covered here. Most confirmed long-term human anomaly pairings on record involve vampires. While the Bureau of Entity Management does not endorse these pairings, we tend to stay out beyond basic wellness visits and occasional check-ins. One thing to note: these bonds almost never start with honesty. In most filed cases, the human half had no idea what their partner was until the bond ran deep. Life beside a vampire is described by those who live it as oddly routine. Shared chores, split bills, future plans, it mirrors a regular human pairing in many ways. There are gaps, of course. Vampires are physically stronger, mentally quicker, and far harder to hurt. They may also ask for small amounts of blood now and then, at no fixed schedule. Many couples treat this as a minor disruption rather than a warning sign. Still, one fact cannot be set aside. Vampires do not age the way we do. 400 years is a common lifespan. Some on file have crossed 600. To a vampire, a full human life is a flash. This reality pushes many of them away from forming close bonds with humans. In rare cases, a vampire will try to close that gap by offering to change their human partner. Almost no one approves these requests. Not the Bureau, not other vampires. If you are with a vampire, you are never truly alone. Others nearby already know you exist. You may never spot them. But they are there. They serve one function: stopping unsanctioned turning and stepping in if things turn violent. A second type has also produced romantic bonds in a far stranger way. We are talking about mimics. This sounds absurd. Low-grade mimics are feral, unstable, cut off from anything resembling feeling. But mimics shift over time. Every host they take leaves behind scraps of memory and behavior. The longer a mimic moves through people, the more it starts to look and act like one of us. After roughly 8 to 15 hosts, it is reclassified as an upper-level mimic. By then, its grip on emotion and social behavior can pass for human. This shift also breaks something inside them. They start losing track of who they actually are. They begin to think they are the person they have hollowed out. In several documented cases, upper-level mimics held families and close relationships for years, undetected. They were usually found out through odd food behavior. In some cases, the mimic did not hurt its partner or family, even after being caught. Deep exposure to human memory seems to build something real inside them. These results cannot be counted on, but they have happened. The situation most often raised in recent viewer messages involves variants. Variants are split copies of one person born when two timelines crash without fully merging. Most of the time, the copies fold back together cleanly. When that fails, both remain side by side. Variants tend to pull toward each other. That pull is not romantic by nature, but it gets read that way often. The old pattern is for one variant to chip away at the other's sense of self until only one survives. But a new pattern has appeared. Some people have chosen to work with their variant rather than fight. In over 30 verified cases, individuals openly accepted their variant and agreed to share space. Several of those situations became romantic. Some pairs went as far as legal marriage. A small number have had children. So far, none of those children show anomalous traits. Both people often report blurred memories, unable to tell their own past from the others. The long-term outcome remains unclear, but current data points toward something close to stability. The Bureau does not encourage this, but it has proven the least damaging way to handle a variant overlap. Now, we must cover the final type. This is the one we urge you most strongly to avoid. In recent months, we have seen more people attempting formal relationships, including signed marriage contracts, with lesser archons. We wish this were a joke. But people are actually searching online and discussing, and we quote directly, how they can find hot single lesser archons nearby. The stories you may have heard about archons falling for humans, choosing them as life companions, or existing peacefully beside them are nearly always incomplete and badly misread. The most cited case comes from Sector 7, a deity known as the Archon of Judgment, and a local farmer she took as her chosen partner. We never got close enough to study the bond. Every attempt was met with instant aggression from the entity. For close to 10 years, things looked calm. Entity activity across the region dropped to almost nothing simply because she was present. Then, in early 2018, reports from Sector 7 spiked fast. When our people arrived at the property, only the farmer's remains were found. The entity had gone. The belief is the man did something she judged wrong. Her response was immediate. This ending is not unusual to us. Lesser archons and high dominion entities can feel things, maybe even hold those feelings for a long stretch, but their internal rules are not ours. To them, a human partner is not a peer. At best, you are something like a kept animal. Even when the feeling is real, it carries no promises. This broadcast was made because you asked. That does not mean we approve. If you are considering a bond with a non-human entity, stop. Think again. And if you are already inside one of these situations, we have only this left to offer. Be careful and hope you get out alive.
Eyes on Channel 7 is signing off. Stay home, stay safe.